All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Maniac Mindset Podcast. I am your host, Had Enough. This podcast is just it's for inspiration. It's for musicians, entrepreneurs, just people who are doing cool shit in life, and just to be a little bit of inspiration for everyone else who wants to do something and wants to kind of know about the behind the scenes stuff, how it works, ideas. The main point of this podcast is to help inspire people with new ideas. We're all kind of doing the same thing. Everyone's a rapper, everyone's a producer, everyone's got a podcast. So maybe we all content creator, everyone's a content creator, influencer, OnlyFans model, all that good shit. So really this podcast is just for those who want to try things different, kind of rock the boat, go a different path, you know. So things of that nature. Anyway, want to apologize for the late arrival. We're just about an hour behind. Technical difficulties, one after the other. Big Tech was definitely trying to prevent this from happening, but we made it through. So, without further ado, I want to introduce my guest, Blacklight.
Hey there.
Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, so my name is Bailey, and I am the lead vocalist for newly formed full band Blacklight. So Blacklight started as an independent project as I kind of navigated my way through music and was evolving. 2021 released my first few songs just under my name and kind of wanted to dive in a little bit deeper and find myself before I came up with a name. And then I came up with the name Blacklight. And I'll ask you, what do you think of when you think of blacklights? When you think of blacklights, what's the first thing that comes to mind? What do you see?
Blacklights. Just kidding. Green ski masks. Green ski mask and a couple swords on the back with
Now, outside of my band,
okay.
what do you think of?
um hmm think of
Where do you see
Blacklight.
blacklights?
On stage at EDM DJ
Yeah.
events,
So
Carnage
the
Crew
first thing
shows.
that
We do
comes
black lights.
the first thing that comes to mind for most people is like kind of a party scene.
Yes. Oh.
Another story to that, like third grade, we had a science fair at my school. Wash our hands, and then they put our hands under black lights, and we could
Yeah.
see all of the parts that we missed. Maybe you didn't wash your thumb or get under your fingernails, and so they had you rewash your hand, do
Okay.
the black light again. So the idea of it is
Mhm.
like, on the outside things can be kind of cool, but really there might be some filth underneath that you can't really get to without
I see where you're going.
it's not exposed to the naked eye. So that's kind of what this project aims to do, is to, we want people to have a good time. We want to curate those good vibes when people come out. We want to have fun, but also we want to, shed light on things and provide deeper meaning too, all at the same time. So
Excellent.
that's where the origin of the name came from. And then in the last year, it's really evolved into a band instead of a just me thing. So brought on KG Vortex, who's an incredibly talented guitarist. We brought in his friend Olin, who is an independent artist himself, who has his own solo project, but he plays bass for us. And then also BK1 Brian, who was the drummer for Not Afraid, who was a fairly traveled band at one point in time, and he took a break, was focusing on his personal life and things outside of music, and ready to jump back in. So that's the current makeup of the band Blacklight, and we're currently in the studio and working on new releases that are just by far the best music to come from this project. I'm so excited. There's a song that's in the studio process that we're going to be performing at March Massacre here this
Nice.
weekend, and I'm really excited to get to show you and the
Mhm.
Carnage crew and everyone down there kind of what does the unreleased Blacklight music look like for 2026.
Excellent. Excellent. So, so you have a few accolades. I know you won a few awards.
I
Probably.
did. So I won a songwriting award actually several years ago, and that kind of pushed me further into music and got me really excited and helped me build a little bit of traction while I was making pop and hip hop.
Uh-oh.
Hip was amazing. Huge shout out to One Voice Radio and that whole team. They're amazing people, and I was very grateful to be a part of that. I got to accept my award at the Gym Theater, which is kind of an iconic historical theater and stage in the heart of Kansas City. So it was a really cool moment for me. I'm really proud of it. And maybe one day there'll be more awards, but for now we're just kind of grinding and putting the work in behind the scenes.
Cool. So I've won awards at the Tulsa Music Awards. So I'm curious, how was the scene reaction when you won? Was it good, negative, a little
Yeah,
mix
I
of
mean,
both?
at the time, I thought it was fantastic. It was, other people want to win, and there's competition, um, but at that time, everybody there that was nominated was really cool about it.
Yeah,
There wasn't any kind of personal conflicts or vendettas. There was a lot of congratulations and a lot of if it wasn't me, it should have been you. Like a lot from me, and there were great people stacked up. I'm grateful that I won, but any given year is anybody's moment, and I think we need to celebrate that for other people as well.
I think so.
There's years that I didn't win, and that's okay. Somebody else won, and they probably deserve to. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I had kind of a mixture. We had the Tulsa Music Awards, and
mhm.
first year I won for best single, and you know, it was cool. Everyone was happy for me and all that kind of stuff. To me, I didn't have my heart setting on where I was going to win or not. You know what I mean?
Mm.
The
Yeah,
way they kind of did it, they did it like a People's Choice Awards. So
yeah,
really, they just what they did was I can't remember the name of the website they use. It's like Monkey something. I know like a lot of like awards type of stuff uses the same website where people can vote. So basically, they just said nominate. So whoever got the majority of nominations, that would be they pick. Then you can nominate. So there was a couple rounds. Then after the last, who got the most votes, something like that. I'm
sure.
going off memory. This is so many years ago, feels like it anyway. And so yeah, first year I won single of the years for my song "No Loyalty." Happy with it, nothing but positivity. Da, da, da. The second year I got nominated, ended up winning hip hop artist of the year. Obviously,
Wow.
when I was there, and people there were super supportive. Congratulations! Obviously, the Facebooks and Instagrams. Um, on the other side of the music scene, hip hop section, a lot of people were fucking pissed, and
Mm.
and these were the same group of people who didn't like the idea of an awards. They thought certain genres weren't represented well. Anyway, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but yeah, there were quite a few. When I look back, it wasn't that much. It's probably like a few people. It's just
Yeah,
the hate. I tell artists this all the time, and everyone comes to terms with it. The hate is just so much louder when you hear it, especially when you're used to love and support. And I've always
yeah,
had that to some extent.
yeah.
Um,
I agree.
so when you hear it's a different kind of energy. So it seems like it's coming from more people than it actually is. Um, and so yeah, that was quite a year. And it didn't help that I know it didn't help that the fact that the CEO of my label at the time and my management was the one running it, even though it was a separate entity.
Hmm.
To some people, it looked like there was some favoritism. However, there were a couple artists on the label or bands who got to perform the awards. I never did. There were categories. I was actually more interested in winning like breakout artist of the year, merch of the
Hmm.
year. It was funny because the merch I lost to a band who had one T-shirt design, and they joked
Yeah,
about it.
we know you
They,
got some merch over there. You got some good
yeah,
merch. It's
yeah.
like
It was funny.
I have a hat enough ski mask in my ski mask
Yeah,
collection.
yeah.
So.
Hell yeah. But it was funny because they joked about it. Thanks for voting us in our one merch item. And but I was the guy who at every
Well, it must
awards
have
was
been better than yours.
yeah. They were a very popular band. And that's
Yeah.
the thing,
Yeah.
like people complain about that, about the music scene's a popularity contest. I was like, well, the industry as a whole kind of is.
Yeah.
It's just but and yeah, the band at the time, they're an amazing band too. There was an amazing metal band, and they got like a lot of fans and a lot of support. They could pack out a venue, and and I was up front. That was the one thing at these awards is I was always up front. So no matter who you were, you won. I was the first one that shook your hand, said congratulations. That's just the type of
Yeah.
energy I like to give to people, and
Absolutely.
yeah, I guess to make it short. So yeah, for me, it was love on one side, and when I look back on it, the amount of people who shunned me was a very small amount of people when you really look back on it. But yeah, there were some areas of Tulsa that just wasn't ready for something like an award show where there is that competition, and but there was a another side of the city that loved this, and they loved the fact that the music coming out of the city was being celebrated.
Sure.
So yeah, I was just kind of curious how it was on your end. I'm there in Kansas City, but from what you told me, you know,
I mean, I wasn't a close knit part of that group, and I won, and I even you know
hmm
talked to a few people that thought that really surprised XY.
oh yeah,
I was just incredibly grateful um,
oh yeah, me
for
too.
their spotlight
Mhm.
that they shared with me. So
Yeah,
yeah, it
yeah,
was a really cool moment. The scene was cool about it, and I won an award. I don't know that it always makes it's not. I'm not objectively the best, right? That's like not what that
yeah,
means. So I tell people to take it with a grain of salt. You know, at that time with the people involved in that, I won. And that's what that means. It doesn't,
yeah,
maybe to the next person, over, I am awful and they don't want to listen to me and that's fine. You know?
yeah.
It's art. It's subjective.
hmm and I know there was some comments I recall from some people, and they even made this to other people who won. They said, "Well, it's just a local award show," and and yeah, it's not the Grammys. You know what I mean? It's not that. It's not
So,
MTV Music Awards, but you know what? It's I
is the
say
Grammys
to
any different? That's a bunch of people that
that are popular, and
are close knit and nominate their friends. And
they're gonna win.
yeah, don't get me started on the Grammys. I'm
Yeah, I
I'm more
know,
proud to win AMMA than I am the Grammys. Okay, and if I get there
right?
one day, they'll probably pull this quote and shut me off stage. But no, I'm sorry. Those are people tooting their own horn up there because they have the money to do it. And I think that there are a lot
Yeah,
of independent. I get heated about this. I really do. There are a lot of independent artists that are so talented that will never get to touch something like that because
uh-huh.
they're undiscovered. And that
Yes,
that section of the industry is so gate kept. Um, there's so many people on my phone, on my playlist, that are never going to touch a Grammy that make better music than people that just won.
right. I feel you. I feel you. Um. Oh, let's see. Freight has popped in. Hey, there they are.
There he is.
I'm going to win a
You
Grammy. All
deserve
right.
it. You
Yeah.
deserve it. Don't hold back. I'm excited to see him
Uh
and all
huh.
the
Oh,
pretty soon.
man. Yeah. You had a little lag there.
Oh no.
The lovely
Am I
the
doing
live
okay now?
streaming. Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, I was only there for a few minutes. Yeah, man. But we'll talk about March Massacre. This is your second year. Well, this will be your first year playing with the full band, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah. I'm really excited. Last year was a blast.
hmm
I felt like my music, though, fairly eccentric and a lot of variety in there,
hmm
was accepted very well.
Yeah.
I had a fantastic time. I met new people. I gained fans out of the trip and
Oh yeah.
made some lifelong friends too. So, um, all around, it was an amazing experience, and I'm just happy that I can bring the band and the new energy that we provide to be able to do that. at this event that I love so much after only doing one time. As you know, I traveled last year with Jade. Jade
Huh?
Ha is one of my best
Yeah.
friends, and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
going to be on night two.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be able to make night two because the day after we come back to DC and we have
Yeah.
quick. It'll be a quick and hard hitting weekend for the band, but
Yeah.
we're for March Massacre.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. You were very highly requested to return from last year. I had several people was like, man, you got to bring him back. And I'm like, I will.
Well, we're gonna come harder. We're gonna come heavier, and we're gonna go nuts. So I
Nice.
hope that March Massacre is ready for that. I feel like the people there deserve it
Mm-hmm.
harder than I did last year. If they like, they're gonna love it this year.
Excellent. Excellent.
I did
So,
make a suit. Real quick, I did make a suit modification that has not been
mhm.
seen, and March Massacre will be the showcase. So I will leave it at that.
Okay.
But as you know, costume is big for me, and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
something new we'll be bringing to the table.
Excellent. Excellent. So, talk about your very first show that
My
you ever
very
did.
first show ever.
Mm-hmm.
My very first show ever was at Seventh Heaven, which was a record bar off of Warnell in Kansas City, Missouri. And they had a basement downstairs that had a very small stage area. And one of my friends at the time, who I had made music with, but um, I wasn't actively pursuing music. I was kind of writing for fun. He was like, "This is good. You should get in front of some people. I've been doing live shows. Let me put you on one." We got this guy who's pretty good, who's been doing a lot of shows too. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. His name is Schwim. I had never heard of
Yep.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Swim's the
Well,
homie. I
that's what
love
I was
swim.
told at this time. Where so you might not know him, but you're gonna be on the show with this guy. So Schwim opened the show, and then there
Yeah.
was a couple guys, and then they had me close it out, and it went really well. I had a lot of fun. It was very well received, and I was like, I can do this. It was a good like first, underground,
Mm-hmm.
literally, in the basement of a record store. And I was like, I gotta lean into this. So it just
Yeah.
pushed me to keep getting better, keep getting on stage every opportunity I could, and I did, and it hasn't stopped since.
Nice. Yeah. 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 Swim's the homie. I did a few dates on his big long tour he did
Mm-hmm.
a couple years ago. So
He's a
yeah,
great dude.
he
Big
is. He
fan.
is. Um, yeah, man. So yeah, that sounds dope. So what's Kansas City music scene like? I mean, obviously I've been there a few times. I've done a few shows. I just meant from someone who lives there. Like if you asked me about the Tulsa music scene, I could give a rundown of how it was when I first came in, and
Mm-hmm.
then kind of where it's at right now and stuff like that. So kind of like from where you're at, like if someone was like, here's a good, I think this would be a good way of putting it. So somebody is going on tour and or they're coming to Kansas City and they know you and and they're excited. They're thinking like, how would you describe the Kansas City music scene? Like, what would they be
Yeah.
in store for?
I would shift that to Kansas City music scenes, plural. I think that there are several scenes, and that kind of dictates everything. So,
Yeah.
I did pop and rap, hip hop
Hmm.
for several years, really. And then I really took a liking to trap metal in a more grungy, aggressive style that kind of broke me away a little bit, I'd say, from like the rap and hip hop community. The contemporary hip hop it's lit, it's fun, it's light, it's party. It's auto tune. Maybe there's a little bit of yelling, but it's mostly just a cool vibe, right? And as I got more aggressive, I found myself kind of separating from that and challenging myself vocally to lean into what I really wanted to be, which is the kind of music that I actually listen to, which is like metalcore, different subgenres within metal. I really like rock in general.
I
So
definitely
I would
can.
say,
I definitely can pick up on the metalcore part, which is cool.
yeah, yeah.
So I
So
was, yeah, I was in a metalcore band from Arkansas a while back. It was like horror. It was like horror. Like it was like
like
9/11
deathcore.
dead.
Yeah.
Not it was before. It was actually before deathcore became a genre.
Okay.
It was what it was if you took like As I Lay Dying
Hmm.
riffs
Oh,
and then
nasty.
you sampled like samples from like Night of the Living Dead. Like it was like all our
Hmm.
stuff was like black and white, old school, like
Oh,
zombie
that's
werewolf.
cool.
So it
I
was
like it.
so yeah, so it's I think of all the bands I did in my metal band days, that was probably the one that was like the closest to kind of who I am.
Hmm.
And because and I wasn't even as big of a horror fan as I am now. So,
Hmm.
but I think I became more because everyone in the band was like obsessed. But they're all like
Hmm.
very the old school, like Night of the Living Dead, Frankenstein, stuff like that. But also they liked all the new extreme horror films, and that's how I got into that went down that rabbit hole.
Sure.
But yeah, I was gonna say is I definitely pick up on the metalcore influences and definitely the trap metal. So
Hmm.
when you mentioned that, I was like, yeah, that was one of the first things that kind of popped in when I first heard you.
And we've been leaning even farther into that metalcore now, I would say. Where
Yeah,
there's still our set is pretty split between trap metal with some hip hop elements, but also more metalcore now leaning. But all that to say, within the Kansas City music scenes, we've kind of positioned ourselves to align more closely with the rock and metal scenes. So we've been doing a lot more shows that kind of fall into that category. We played with Easy Tiger, Pure American Filth, and Stitch at our last
nice.
Kansas City show, which is a variety of kind of heavy hitting rock and metal bands around here, um, and a few around the corner. So we're going to be opening for Ventana, who is about half of Mushroom Head, if you know that band.
Yeah, I do.
Um,
Yeah.
so that we haven't announced this yet, but I can bring it. I can bring it out there first. We're going to be playing "Rock the River," where the headliner is Saving Abel, um, and so we have a few things down the pipeline that are definitely much more in the rock realm.
Excellent. I seen Mushroom Head live twice,
Yeah.
and both nights, some girl I was with, me and her broke up. So,
Oh.
I mean, that's totally irrelevant,
Oh.
but it's just I noticed two times I had relationship issues twice. I don't know if they're correlated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's
if you
funny.
want to test, so fellas, if you want to test your relationship, take a girl to go see Mushroom Head, and if
Yeah. Or you could just go to the Ventana show. That's going to be the night after March Massacre in Kansas City and
right,
catch your guys' blacklight.
yeah.
Are you
So
familiar
other
with American Overdose?
what's up?
Are you familiar with American Overdose?
Them, I'm not. I'm
So they kind of got that Mushroom Head esque
okay.
aesthetic and all of that, and we're going to be playing with them in Topeka this summer. So
Nice.
we're really leaning into Freitas. I saw Freitas on that lineup.
Yeah,
I'm
Rock the
so
River.
excited.
Yeah,
We're definitely going to be hanging out at that festival.
nice.
Um, yeah, super excited for more to come on that one too. Um, but yeah, definitely leaning into that kind of, you know, I don't want to call it grungy, but just
Yeah,
mix of grunge, trap metal, and then metalcore with some, melodic elements as well.
excellent. Hell yeah, man. Yeah, it's always like really dope too when you see artists like evolve as they go. They keep that sound, but it's almost like um, it's like they find that next stage. You know what I mean? Where they grow, they
Definitely.
still have that same sound, but you can hear the evolution, and it's
Hmm.
just it's
Yeah.
very much like they're not the artist slash band is not changing, but they're evolving within the times, but to a point where you just feel like their sound is getting larger, and I don't know. That's the best way I can explain it. That was one of the
Yeah.
things I always give Red Hot Chili Peppers and Corn props. Uh, I'd give some props to Slipknot, but it's not. They had that for like for like I think the third after the third or fourth album, and then it kind of sounded like it was like Slipknot collaborating with Stone Sour.
Yeah, it just
You
yeah,
know,
it's kinda
so
like it was like All Hope Is Gone or Lost, you know that album?
yeah, yeah,
Psychosocial,
that was probably
Sulfur, Dead Memories.
that was the first album where I kind of I fell out a little bit. I wasn't as interested.
That
You
is
know,
where I think Stone Sour and
yeah,
Slipknot meet at I
it's
haven't
so
seen
weird.
Slipknot live, but I have seen Stone Sour, and that was an amazing
I would too. I saw Stone Sour live when they first came out,
amazing
and
show.
I don't know if as much as their music has always been dope, especially when they came out with their first record.
Through the
Uh, I
Glass.
I really feel Stones Corey Taylor being the lead vocalist was probably their best marketing,
Mhm.
especially
Sure.
with how hot Slipknot was at the time. Because when I went there, it was like everybody had a Slipknot shirt on, so
Of
yeah,
course.
and it worked for them. So they're able to develop their own brand as a as a band, and so. But I do think even though Stone Sour was a band before Slipknot, like we all know that, but to the mainstream, to the worldwide, we're not used to. We're just now getting introduced to Stone Sour. So,
Mhm.
but that was kind of I think having him already being like a loud voice in the metal genre, having him definitely helped, and you could tell people came for Stone Sour because it's Corey Taylor. You know what I mean? So
Well, and I think that first song, it was like,
yeah,
gosh, like this guy can really sing too. You know, the same guy that just did Heretic Anthem.
right.
Like, what? So I take inspiration from that as a vocalist that likes to challenge myself with, different kinds of screams, being able to sing at different ranges, and those kind of things. I just think he's incredible. I really do.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, for sure. For sure. The weird thing is, was when I saw him live in the beginning of Stone Sour, he looked big. Like he looked tall and buff. And but then you see him now and he looks all short and really thin. Now I'd imagine he probably cut a lot of weight down. But I don't know. Was he wearing some special kind of boots with some like whatever they're called? I don't know.
Like platform boots,
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
platform boots and a muscle
Yeah.
suit. Who knows?
Well, he had on like he had on like I think like the jacket, the trench coat jacket, and stuff like that.
Yep.
But yeah, so I don't know. It could also just be perception. Sometimes your eyes can play tricks on you when someone seems larger than they really are.
Yeah.
So so what other bands like aside from like influence like because sometimes like we tend to listen to different music than what we're inspired by when we make
Mm,
music. So,
sure.
what other artists or bands do you like outside of what makes you want to do music? Like like as a fan, you know?
Um, my number one fangirl band is Era. I don't know if you've heard of Era. It's ERRA, and they are just amazing. My fiance Darian always says that I have a man crush on Jesse Cash. He's their clean vocalist slash lead guitar. How he does both, I'm
Okay,
just like it blows my mind. It's so beautiful. So that, and then they have a screamer too, who's just powerful. It just rips.
okay,
They have a
I'm
song
checking
with
this out.
Bad Omens
I'm
from their
checking this out.
concert.
So, Era is it ERRA?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. I'm checking this out. Yeah, my go ahead. Finish with the rest of the bands, and I'll
I mean,
throw
that's like
throw
that's
in
a
my hot
big one
take.
for me. Silent Planet is a big one that my guitarist showed me, and I was like, "This is kind of odd," and now I'm like, "This is amazing." I mean, it's just they're almost their own genre, but
Wow.
still in that kind of weird extraterrestrial pop metal. I don't know what to call them, but they're good.
Yeah.
Um, and I just like things like that. Parkway Drive is one of my favorite all-time bands,
Oh, I love
and they
Parkway
always
Drive.
will be. Yeah, they
Yeah.
they will always be, like, an icon to me. I love Metallica.
Hmm.
It's just something about it never gets old for me, and then I
Yeah.
really like some classic rock too. Foreigner and Styx are 2 of my favorite bands. Um,
Nice.
yeah, early '80s, um, music in there too. I don't know if you've heard of Beast in Black. That is a 2016, 2018, relatively newer band that sounds like their hair metal band from the '80s. So,
Very nice.
just things like that that I just think is just cool. Just a cool vibe. Sometimes it's these really intricate guitar pieces, and sometimes
Yeah.
it's just the sound that makes a kid want to go buy a guitar to learn that little riff. Like, it's stuff like that. It's the vocalist that's pouring their heart out and also just tickling the ears. I'm not stingy. I think that there's good music in all genres. I try not to hate on other genres just because I don't listen to them a lot. I think there's good
Yeah.
music in everything.
I'm the same
Um,
way. Oh yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So Bo Peep popped in. Note to self: do not see Mushroom Head with Venmo.
Yeah. You could break the curse. You might be the
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I think
I
you'd be
think
the one to
so. I
break the
think the
curse
curse
for
can
'em.
be broken
So
because there's no
maybe you guys
reason
should
why
see much.
there's no logical reason not to enjoy a Mushroom Head live show.
Mhm.
So, other one, Freitas, Black Gold from the UK is dope, and Hotbox from LA.
Black Gold is cool.
Oh, did I say
They
that
kinda
wrong?
have that.
Oh, Hotbox and then Black Gold.
I
I
don't
thought I
know
got the.
Hotbox. I'll have to check them out.
Okay, let's make sure my tongue didn't get tied and I mixed both band names backwards.
Black Hot Box Gold.
Yeah, Black Gold and Hotbox. Yeah, yeah. It takes.
They got a really cool aesthetic.
I'm definitely gonna check out these bands. I have been a very hard audience in checking out new metal bands. Not new metal, but new
Right.
metal bands
Yes.
for like I would say probably the past several years, and a lot of it has to do with I had a hard time believing that I'd find metal bands that didn't sound exactly like metal bands we've been hearing for the past 2 decades. A
Mhm.
lot of that stems from like I was real big into the metalcore genre. I know I was obsessed with Bleeding Through for a while, um, and bands such as that. I got into Unearth, and then I remember an old member of my band, like he was old school, Black Sabbath, Metallica. He was hard pressed to find a modern metal band that he liked, and I'm trying to remember who there was. He hated Dillinger Escape Plan, and I thought that was the band he'd be into because he was real technical in how he would write and play riffs. And he was like, I hate that band. He's just, but I came to notice that. But then there were a couple of modern metal bands he liked, and I noticed it wasn't just the riffs; it was the songwriting
Mhm.
and stuff like that. And that kind of where I looked into it, I think as I got older, I looked at that more. And then now when I revisit some of the bands, there are some of them that I do have a hard time telling the difference between their songs and where it does kind of get repetitive. That kind of killed me a little bit. And because I enjoy a lot of metal, definitely live. It's what I can listen to and kind of catch the vibe from that where I can
Yeah.
enjoy it. Because death metal, I enjoy death metal live. There's not a whole lot of death metal I'll listen to when I'm not at a show, like headphones in the car or
Yeah.
whatever. If I'm in a certain mood, yes, but that'll probably last a couple songs. And especially now, like I like, I appreciate like a lot of metal that has the variety, like the singing chorus and stuff like that.
Sure.
But when it fits into the mold, when you've gotten so brutal, and then all of a sudden there's this very Justin Bieber like chorus that comes out of nowhere, it was like, how did we go so brutal and get so pop?
Mhm.
But at the same time, I can have fun with that. But I'm definitely always interested.
Yeah, a few.
I'm always interested in metal bands that almost are their own genre, which can be almost seems impossible to pull off.
One that comes to mind for me is Born of Osiris.
Yes, yes.
They have a very, like, technical,
Mhm.
approach, but the way that they incorporate synths and and that kind of aspect, I just think is beautiful. I think it's really cool. I love a good melodic input
Yes,
on
I do
something
too.
heavy
Um,
because it kind of bridges the gap between like ear bleed
oh yeah.
and you know on um just caveman metal. Ugh, just feels good.
There is a there. I'll tell you one of my favorite experiences seeing a live metal band. Was years ago. It was a band called Cattle Decapitation.
Yep.
They're a vegan death metal band. Now this is an
Hmm.
exception to that. But their vocalist is from another planet. I swear to God. Um, so I remember kept hearing about him. I know this is. I don't know if this was the MySpace days or a little bit. I'd say like early MySpace days, and saw them live. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this guy pulling these vocals off? I look over and then I see his tongue like like this, and then he's just doing these absolutely incredible gutter vocals. And
Mm.
then I went and bought I bought their CD to listen to it, and even when I listened to the CD, like it didn't sound as unique. It still sounded sick, but just not as unique as seeing it live. It was almost like he adds a little much more live. But it was interesting because on the CD it says there are no vocal effects used. And then I found him on YouTube, and it showed how he prepares to do his vocals when he's in the studio, and so when it comes to me and I do some vocals in some of my songs. That's
Hmm.
I learned a little bit from him and watching kind of his vocal movements, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I would love to
So,
pick your brain on that. I'm always trying to
oh yeah,
challenge myself and learn more. So,
something like that. You put your tongue, you flip your tongue like this,
yep.
and then you kind of, I don't know how to describe it. I'm not a vocal teacher, and you kind of just let. But if you can do, a deep growl, um, I don't know. It almost it's to me, it's almost like it can kind of add a little bit
I
of
think that's
distortion.
my favorite things I've seen from you is you'll have what you typically do that I think of is the horror rap, and then all of a sudden this breakdown comes out of nowhere, and that blew my
Yeah.
mind. I was like, I was not expecting that at all. Like that was so sick, and
That's why I chose to do that. Like, what can I
that is
do
really
that throw people off?
yeah. The part about seeing you,
Nice,
and it was cool. It was cool seeing you do that, and yeah,
nice.
I love
Yeah, I
hearing it.
actually that was a compliment I got from Matt Phoenix. If you know, he's from Strange Music. He's actually their sound engineer, and he's on King ISO's new
I met
record
him
label. And
not that long ago, actually.
yeah, he's a nice guy. Yeah, he was really cool, and I really enjoyed his live music. I never heard his music per se. I've just only heard them on King ISO songs, and it was cool to kind of. So I actually looked up his shit after that because I got to kind of see his actual solo music. And yeah, he came up to me and he gave me props, and he was like, he was just like, good set, and he goes, and I really enjoyed those death growls.
Mhm.
Something like that.
Mhm.
He used, I think he said gutter vote. He used the proper
Yeah, guttural.
terminology for the
Yep.
vocal styles.
Yep.
So it was pig squeals. That's what he said. Because I remember that night I went a little high on the deep growls to kind of get that pig squeal sound. Yep. Yep. So I don't pull it off every time, but when I try to pull it off, it works 65% of the time.
60% of the time it works every time.
Yeah, 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 exactly. All right. So talk about how when did you start to do shows outside of Kansas City?
Hmm.
That long ago?
I'm trying to think of what my first one was that was like truly a drive at least.
Yeah.
Um, Camp Say So.
Oh,
I
nice.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with Camp Say So. But I got invited out there one year, um, and that was um, when I was still kind of doing pop and hip hop,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to play one of their. I think it was called like the Octane, like a side stage or something, and it went really well. And they invited me out again. I got to take Flex the drummer with me, and we got
Mm-hmm.
to play on the main stage the next year, and it was unforgettable. It was fun. But that's in Arkansas. So
Nice,
that
nice,
was like kind of my first one out. I would say the furthest out is Fort Lauderdale. I
nice.
got to play at one of the stages on Riptide Music Festival, which was literally on the beach. They fenced off the beach, and headliners for that show were Jelly Roll, Dirty Heads, and Sublime with Rome. So that was an
Excellent.
incredible experience. That was massive, really cool, and probably the furthest.
Oh yeah. Um, I'm trying to remember. Well, the first out of state show I did was Dallas, Texas at Coyote Ugly. It was when back in the day when you would perform at these places for record
Yeah.
executives and it was cool. I had one. I remember it was right after because Epic Records was there, and then something Island Records, and something else was like I think Sony. And then this, I know this was right after Lamb of God got their deal with Epic because the girl who ran Epic said we can't sign any metal bands. This was my first band. This was, I was like 20 something, and she goes, but you guys should look into submitting for this festival in New Jersey. And then the Sony guy said you guys should try and tour in Germany. And then the guy from something Island, I know Hanson was like signed to them or whatever. And the dude just totally talked mad shit and said because you had to give a press kit with your photo, your bio, and then the lyrics of the song you're performing.
Mm.
He said your lyrics were absolutely appalling. You, Marilyn Manson, and 50 Cent are the reason why the youth today is so screwed up. He
One
goes,
of those.
I don't want to read anymore and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, where did 50 Cent come out of this? I, it's just like Manson, I
Yeah.
get, I get. But I was just like, I think you were just mentioning, but oh yeah, he's just like, I don't even want to look at you. He's like, you disgust me. It was one of the, yeah, it was one of the some of the funniest shit. But
You didn't get up there and you weren't like, "Go, shawty, it's your." No,
no,
none of
I
that.
remember the song. I think the song was about like cutting my wrist, or it was like some dark, depressing shit. I think that's what he had a problem with because I guess the lyrics were. I don't think it was slit my wrist. I don't. It was stuff. It was some like dark shit. It was like some shit, like corn, like stuff like
Yeah.
falling away from me kind of vibe or whatever. Because
Yeah.
I was so something like that. It
It's an
definitely
amazing
gave
song,
it,
by the way.
it gave off some I don't want to live anymore type of vibe. But I mean, we were this new metal band in early 2000s. Would you expect? So
Yeah.
from what I recall, I know it was something that was definitely like you know bad influence to the kids, so to speak. So, shit's funny. This industry is fucking hilarious if you can if you have the patience and sense of humor for it.
I mean, if you put your heart into a song, it's probably relatable to other people,
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
that's what music should be. It's not, always gonna be a good influence. Not all of our emotions are positive, and that needs to be represented in music too.
I think so. All right. So I have a funny story, but I was curious of yours. What is the weirdest, most awkward show you've ever done? Like you kind of like we'll get to the best show. Trust me. I talk about the most awkward, weird show. Like you're almost thinking to yourself, why did we agree to do this?
Mm.
I guess the worst shit show is probably the best way I can explain it.
You know,
So I have a good one.
we did a show not that long ago where we had technical difficulty,
That
and
happens.
that was probably the worst. Um, were like we couldn't wrong, but like
Yeah.
our heads as a band, our computer crashed twice, and so with like some like backing track, like synth stuff and like click track, and when all of that just cuts out, and you're like, what is going on? And so it was one of those things where like our guitarist is trying to work on the computer and get it going, and I'm kind of talking to the crowd and you know engaging with them, but it felt, and I don't think it was that long, but it just felt like hours of just talking, and I'm trying to draw it out, and I'm starting to get emotional, and I'm like, what is going on? So I'm just kind of having a soapbox moment without like throwing in the gloves. But we
Yeah.
finished the set. It just didn't feel good. What feels
Yeah.
good is when everything runs smooth and people have a good time and it's noticeable.
I feel
That's,
you.
that's yeah.
Kalen says felt like an eternity.
It did. It did. But he saved the day. He's a wizard. Don't let him fool you. He's actually been, you know, one of the best choices I ever made as an artist was bringing him on because it's just evolved so much. And then him bringing on Olin too from our bassist. Um, it's just taken everything to a new level. And I think that the people that come to our more recent shows can tell a huge difference. It's a totally different vibe, and it's a big step in the direction that this project needs to go.
Excellent. Well, my most there's a few of them for the most awkward and embarrassing and why did we agree to do the show? But I will actually tell you, I think the worst one, and I'm thankful it'll never be beat, even though there's others. It was my third metal band I was in, and this kid who was like a fan of ours, big fan of ours, and he was like, "Man, I want you guys to play my birthday party." It's a bar that's still around. There's a town called Oolaga, Oklahoma. Um, I know the bar is still open. I can't think of. It's like Horse Something Saloon. It's like a country bar.
You probably suppress that memory.
Probably. I know a friend of mine works there. So, but I don't know if they still do, but they had a room and it was all ages. So I guess like the teenagers could have their party while mom and dad are getting hammered. I don't know,
Right.
but um,
Sounds like Chuck E.
um,
Cheese.
something like that. But I don't know. It could be a different bar. It was in that town, Oolaga, and so we did it. And like I said, they had stage, they had sound system, and then they just served like water, pop, and stuff like that. So this
Mhm.
was like 2006, I think. Iron Horse. That's it. I don't know. I want to
Oh,
say thanks, Freitas. I want to say it's that bar, but I don't know because, like I said, this is 2006. I think it's that same bar, and if so, I don't know if they still have this room next door. But I'm paraphrasing off of what memory I have of this time. So we get there, and then the parents are there, and then the aunt is there, and all that, and so base so the mom pays us because they wanted us to perform for 2 hours, so we're doing two. And our band, we rarely did this. I know a lot of bar bands, this is common. They'll play 4 hours, they'll take breaks and all that, and we did a couple of Pantera and Metallica covers I used to book tribute shows for Dimebag Darrell for Metallica, and so we would do our thing, right? And amongst our originals. Here's where it gets really awkward. At some point, we take a break. The aunt, who I'm guessing was next door because she was by no means sober, she comes in and says, "Hey, when y'all gonna stop like playing all this headbanging shit? Play some porno music." Like I'm trying to give my nephew a lap dance. I need you got a wah wah pedal. He's pointing at my bass player, and all this stuff. And then we're sitting here and we're like, that's not what we do. And she goes, bullshit. Come on, we need really party music, you know. And then one of the kids, they said, hey, tell you what, we'll play the music just to get her to shut up. And then so they get on the bass pedal when it gets behind the drums, and we're watching this woman. She didn't take her clothes off, but she took her, I think, like her jacket off slowly, gives her nephew a fucking lap dance. And we're hearing the wah wah pedal. We're just staying here. And my drummer says, dude, I am absolutely traumatized right now. And and I don't remember how old this kid was. I think he had to be like 17 or 18 or something. Everything
Yeah.
about this was just wrong. And that's about all. But I remember this as being so fucking weird. And of course, my bass player is just getting a crack. He's just laughing his ass off because it was awkward to us finally going back to doing our music, doing the music that we were paid to perform. And yeah. Another one would be I witnessed a promoter try to kill his father in the parking lot. He was on a lot of drugs, for what I know. So we're at this venue, is here in Tulsa. Again, this was about that same time, and we're waiting. And the promoter, he's like 21, 22, something like that. He pulls up, and apparently his dad had to give him a ride because he got in a car wreck, and so he couldn't like legally drive or something like that. And so we see him in the back seat, and we're like, okay, he's here. We can finally. Next thing you know, we see him slug his fucking dad, and the next thing you know, they're both getting out of the car. His dad's yelling at him, and there's this big commotion. And he comes out and he just stares him down. And I swear, I don't think there was soul in that kid's eyes. And he's just looking at him, and then he starts chasing his dad around the car. His dad's like terrified for his life. And then finally he runs off, and then one of the other bands, I guess the guitarist knew him, and he gave him some weed to smoke to get him to chill out. And then he just comes up to us, and then he goes, yeah, do you guys want to go ahead and load in? We'll have sound check in about half an hour. Like nothing ever happened.
Nothing happened.
Like I was like, what the fuck we're like, what the fuck just happened here? So, and then Bo Peep says,
Yeah, nothing like that.
yeah, my biggest fear as a DJ is the computer crash.
Dad
That's
jokes,
when I have to
please.
yell out to
Oh,
Brandon,
you want to hear
dad
something
jokes,
funny
please.
about that? I think I can't say for certain, but this probably gives the band the ick by now, if it didn't the first time. But like, I've just always done this for mic check. I just like start riffing dad jokes. That's just like my thing. I
Right?
don't know. Like I what I don't like is like check, test. Like I'm like, you know what sucks? Being somebody that has to witness sound checks is like listen to like four different people or more go check for like 5 minutes every, vocalist that goes up there. So
Yeah.
dad jokes, they go a long way around here.
Oh
And by
yeah.
that I mean they probably give some people the ick, but I have fun with it, so
Yeah.
I'm
I
with
would
you on that.
say my favorite mic check is mic check test. It's the Beavis and Butthead mic check.
Oh
Testing
yeah,
1, 2, 3. I don't know. Beavis and Butthead will never get old to me, no matter how old I get.
I've never watched it.
Really, it's
Mm-mm.
it's shut your brain off comedy. Really, I, it's definitely a of the '90s, but I don't know. I've recently revisited them because you can stream all their old episodes and their new ones. And yeah, if I just feel like it's one of those things, to me, it's just like South Park,
Okay,
in a different way. In a different way, totally. It's two different cartoons, but
right.
it's like that or Family Guy. I put them in the same category because it's like if you just
Stupid
feel like
adult comedy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, immature comedy. If you want to shut your brain off and laugh at things that you probably thought was funny when you're 14 years old,
Hmm.
that's my go to. So I don't have to think. There's it's just stupid shit you're laughing at. That so Frey just popped back in to say I developed a sound check song just for that. Yep,
Genius.
sound check. He says it just like that. So what's next on the Blacklight plan? Where are you guys trying to do next?
Well, as far as shows, we have a few down the lineup. I'll start with shows and then move into a few other things. But we have March Massacre this
Mhm.
Friday. Saturday, we have Ventana on their national tour. And then in April, we're playing at the Frog Pond in Peculiar with
Nice.
Beneath the Skin and Drek. And if you don't know either of those bands from Kansas City, you need to check them out, people. They're
I know.
solid.
I know of Drac. I saw they were in Tulsa a few years ago.
Both of these
Um,
bands put on a show. Mike Riley, the front man for Beneath the Skin, good
mhm.
friend of mine, great
Yeah.
dude. What he's developing in the music scene out in Peculiar is just phenomenal. It's fantastic. All the hard work he's putting in and creating a scene where there wasn't one. So he's doing something really cool out there right now, and
Oh
we're
yeah.
happy to be a part of that. And then we have a few shows down the road too that we haven't quite released information for, but we're pretty excited for what this year is looking like, and just nose to the grind. If we're not doing shows, we're working on music. We have an arsenal of songs to release and studio time booked, and I'm most excited, I think, for that to show people what we've been working on behind the scenes for the last few months and even
Excellent. The lag.
three more incredibly creative and talented people. Um, Blacklight Music's going to take a huge leap this year.
Excellent, man. I'm excited to hear that.
So I think that that's the direction, and I think what might be the most surprising is how much further into the metalcore this music has gotten.
Nice.
Um, it's,
Excellent.
I mean, when I go to a show, I want to feel it. I want to have fun. I want the music to make me want to move. Um, I like moshing. I like stuff like that. I like good crowd engagement, and that's what this music is, and it comes from the soul. Um, I accepted a show with a booker that I haven't, a promoter, booking agent, manager, all these things that I haven't talked to in years, and he hadn't kept up on my music over the last few years, and so I sent him where it's at, and he was just kind of amazed, and I had like an epiphany where it's like I had a moment one point in time where I realized that I was just making music just to like make music and base it off of what I was hearing instead of like making music that is true to me and like comes from my soul first.
Hmm.
And I think that that's what's really going to be heard. Um, you can kind of hear it in this last project. I'm really proud of that. Nothing Left to Love album. And even taking it a step further in the next album.
Hell yeah, man.
But shout out to
Awesome.
the guys. Shout out to BK1, KG Vortex, and Olin. It's not just me; it's a team here, and bringing these guys in has just changed the game for the Blacklight experience, for the people that come to our shows, the people that listen to the music. Um, we're eternally grateful, and I'm the most grateful for the people that have stuck around for all the songs I released that I wasn't even that proud of, and they
Right.
still showed love to me. And now I'm at a place where I'm like, this is the music I would go out and listen to by choice. Like this is what I love, and that's what we're going to be releasing from here on out.
Awesome, man. Awesome. All right, man. We just about hit an hour. I promised you I wouldn't push this past an hour. So go ahead and for anyone who's unfamiliar, just to drop your socials where they can find you, the typical.
Yeah, it's Blacklight. Pretty much, all socials and streaming platforms. Something to note: it is a V instead of an A in the word Blacklight. So sometimes people have a hard time finding that, and it's because they're spelling it how you would think the word would be spelled. But just because I write doesn't mean I can spell. So BLVCK.
All right. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to seeing